Right. So students, you all know that if I ask you simply, what is this GMAT exam? You say that it is a graduate management admission test. It is abbreviated as GMAT exam. It is an international admission test. It is a standardized exam too. Most of the business schools, they trust this exam. They take this exam as a means to understand your potential. So there are approximately 2,400 universities in the entire world. They rely on this GMAT exam, and 9 out of 10 MBA enrollments, they are made using the GMAT score. So most of the people depend on this GMAT exam. It is not only an admission test, students, it has some kind of advantages too. Okay, the major advantage is if you have a very strong GMAT score, you can balance out your poor undergraduate performance. So many students, they simply they might have enjoyed their bachelor's time very much and got a little bit less score compared to other students. Then don't worry, now it's time for you to prove yourself with this GMAT exam. Get a very good score. It's more than enough to prove that you are a very intelligent student. Apart from that, you can also get a very decent amount of scholarship if you have got a 700 plus score. So because of all these advantages, you should appear for the GMAT exam. And coming to what is tested on this GMAT exam, what are the core components involved in this GMAT exam? So basically, GMAT tests your acquired skills, the skills that you have been acquiring throughout your curriculum. So what are these skills that you have been acquiring throughout your curriculum? These are basically students' higher order reasoning skills, data insights, quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning. These are the core components tested in the GMAT exam. And these are the skills that you have been acquiring throughout your education. So these are what, tested in the GMAT exam. So students, I want to ask you one quick question. After looking at the core components tested in the GMAT exam, you may have a question that, for example, Akash, in the case of Akash, what did you study in your bachelor's degree?
Business administration, BBA.
Okay, so we have a liberal arts student. I forgot her name. Who's that? Bhagyashree, right?
Bhagyashree,
Ah,
yeah.
yes, Bhagyashree. Bhagyashree studied liberal arts. So if I want to understand how much intelligent Bhagyashree is, or as a university, if I want to take Bhagyashree for an MBA program, what should I look at? I should look at how much subject knowledge she has. So that is a major understanding of, how intelligent Bhagyashree is. But universities are not asking how much subject knowledge you have in a particular subject. They are asking you to prove yourself in these areas: data insights, quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning. Some of you may have 4 out of 4 GPA. So what more do I require to understand that you are the most intelligent student and you will be a best fit for my MBA program here in my university? But why universities are not looking at your GPAs? Why they are asking you to appear for this exam separately and prove yourself in data insights, quantitative reasoning, and verbal reasoning? Have you ever asked this question, students, to yourself? Do you have any answer for this? You can interact with me freely. Is my question logical, first of all?
I think part of the answer is in your question itself, right? Since you have candidates from very, very different academic and professional backgrounds, you need some metric that would standardize the intakes in schools, right?
So
So
you
one
meant
of
to say
those
that it is
metrics
a
is
kind of
GMAT.
common admission test, is it?
I think some type of a standardized score. So if it's, for example, a 650 student, GMAT, I mean, an MBA school would have a fair idea, right? That, hey, this is a type of a student who's probably in a, it basically just shows the basic academic rigor you
I
come
felt
from.
many times, it's a kind of, discrimination shown towards biological sciences students, liberal arts students, this kind of students. Because see, you engineering graduates, you have a lot of, knowledge of mathematics and everything. You have a fair advantage over other students. So
Absolutely.
yeah, then how can I say that it's a kind of, common platform? Okay, so
Hmm.
any more answers, students? What do you
Yeah,
say?
I have a point. See,
Uh-huh.
as people come from different backgrounds, different cultures, uh,
Mm-hmm.
G- universities need one kind of a barometer to figure out how well the person is thinking analytically, whether they
Mm-hmm.
are from arts or biological science or engineering or even medical. So they
Hmm.
need one common exam, right,
Mm-hmm.
to really assess people to figure out for the universities how good they are in their analytical skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I feel they have created a standardized test so that any college in the world can depend on the score to really
Mm-hmm.
assess
Okay.
how analytical people are.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me give you a complete answer for this question, students. So, students, if you look at the education system present in our country, the education system present in other countries, there is a fundamental difference. You know what kind of difference we have? For example, you all studied a bachelor's program, now you are going for a master's program. So, in the master's program, what happens? You choose certain subjects as major. Let it be some, one subject, economics. Okay, you have chosen this subject, economics, and you study this entire subject, right? You keep all the knowledge, you keep all the subject knowledge of this particular subject in your mind, right? At the end of the year, you have to appear for certain exams, and in that exam you write down all the subject knowledge you have. You get certain marks, let it be some 90 out of 100 you have got, and finally you are awarded a 3.9 GPA. That's it. This is how you complete your master's program here in India. This is a basic process. So, if I have to interpret the 3.9 GPA, people normally think that, 3.9 GPA means, wow, the person is very intelligent. She or he is a very intelligent student. That is how people regard. But if I have to interpret, how do I interpret this 3.9 GPA? This particular student is very good at mugging up all the subject knowledge, could be able to keep that knowledge in the mind, retain that knowledge in the mind, be able to present it in the exam. That's it. So he or she is very good at mugging up subject knowledge, retaining subject knowledge. Then how can I see this 3.9 GPA as a measure of intelligence? What do you students? What do you say, students? 3.9 GPA, does it really indicate, does it correlate with the intelligence of a student? Am I really measuring the intelligence of a student with this process? What do you say, students? Bhagyashree, what do you say?
Um, yeah, I think it's just the ability to, yeah, I mean, like mug up and then
Yeah.
give
You
it
are
to me.
simply,
Yeah,
keeping the subject
yeah,
knowledge in your mind, going to the
yeah,
exam, presenting it. That's it.
yeah, yeah.
So even the foreign universities are also thinking like this. We are not exactly measuring the intelligence of a student. Actually, there is no proper way to measure the intelligence of a student. Okay, but here the process is like this. So because of that, foreign universities, they have adapted a different kind of, system. So if you go abroad, how do you complete your master's program? You select a particular subject in master's, and let it be again the economics. So there, they don't have examination mode of testing. They have a different mode of testing. They have assignment mode of testing. What is meant by an assignment? An assignment means after you have studied certain components of this particular subject, they ask you to refer to the research articles, prepare a research report, or prepare simply a report of 1,000 words, 1,500 words, and then submit it to the professor. So this kind of assignment mode of testing is very predominant there. They don't have examination mode of testing. So normally what students do here in India, if I give you this kind of assignment, you have to go and research read the research articles, extract information, and then, prepare a research report. What do? You don't, take that much pain. You simply go to the Google, you type in the Google, and you collect the information, you copy that information, and then prepare an assignment and submit to the professor. The professor is not a foolish person to accept your document like that, right? He will in turn submit that to an online application called as Turnitin. Has anyone of you heard about this application? Students, Turnitin?
Yes, I have.
What is that?
So it's basically to check plagiarism of your report or document that you've submitted.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly. So the Turnitin will simply read your report, and then it will say that you have copied this information from this kind of resource, this kind of resource. Plagiarism is a very serious academic misconduct. Then how you have to complete the assignment? In order to complete an assignment, you have to thoroughly read the research articles, the relevant research articles, gain knowledge, and then write your own information. You shouldn't copy that. Now tell me, students, in order to read that kind of research articles, you need what? Basic reading comprehension skills. In order to understand the logics, the data present in them, what kind of skill you require? You require a very good critical thinking skill, a knowledge of data insights, all these things. So cumulatively, these three components, data insights, reading comprehension, and critical reasoning, they simply check how likely you are able to complete your master's program in a particular university. If you have a very good score in GMAT, it's very likely that you complete your MBA program successfully in a foreign university. So that is the reason why they measure this kind of things. So hope you all have got a now a clear understanding of it. Have you, students?
Yes, sir.
Right, perfect. Okay. So is my answer logical? Students, Akash, what do you say?
Yes, pretty clear.
All right, perfect. Okay, so students, the GMAT exam basically measures the critical thinking and reasoning skills that are very relevant to the graduate business programs. If you have a deep understanding of these things, you can be very successful in your business program as well as in your career too. So what are the skills you gain from the GMAT exam? Basically, very good decision-making skills, how to deal with the pressure. You will acquire a strong communication skill too, and you can argue like a pro. As part of your career, you may have to argue with so many people. You have to convince different people. How can you do that unless you have a knowledge of, critical thinking and logical thinking, right? So these are the benefits you get from the GMAT exam. So don't simply see this GMAT exam as a pressure. Understand that you are gaining a lot of skills while preparing yourself for the GMAT exam. I can promise you, students, you won't waste a single penny by appearing for the GMAT exam. Okay, though you fail in the GMAT exam, don't worry. You have acquired certain skills in that one. So with that positivity, you move ahead, right? So if we look at the basic structure of this GMAT Focus Edition, students, this is how the different components are configured. In data insights, students, you are given 20 questions to be solved within 45 minutes, and the score ranges from 60 to 90. In the quantitative reasoning, you are given 21 questions to be solved within 45 minutes. Again, the score ranges from 60 to 90. In verbal reasoning, 23 questions out of 45 minutes. The score ranges from 60 to 90. The total time you are given is 2 hours 15 minutes, and there is an optional 10-minute break. Okay, and the total number of questions you are given 64, and the entire GMAT score ranges from 205 to 805. So here, all the three sections, they contribute equally to the total score. Okay. So, and there is no essay section. You don't need to write anything. Okay. So these are the core components. You can take a screenshot of it if you want, and whichever you feel comfortable. Right. So here we have certain kind of exam features, students. Unlike the previous exam, in this exam, you can review and then edit your answers. Okay. But you can change answers up to only 3. Okay. That too per section. Okay. Per section, you can change only 3 answers. And you have a flexibility to select the section order too. Okay. If you want, you can select any component first. Okay. But I recommend you two section orders, students. Number one, first of all, go for data insights, then go for quant, and finally verbal, or data insights, verbal, and quant. So why I am recommending these two only? What is the logic behind it? Let me tell you. Okay. So the logic is simply, students, if you look at the scale scores, okay, GMAT focus percentiles. All right. So look at here the data insights in that particular section. Okay. So 89, 90 scale score can give you a 100%, 100 percentile. Okay. So here you can, it can give you 100 percentile. 85 to 88, it can give you 99 percentile. So what does that mean? I have up here for GMAT focus exam, mocks exam, okay, in the mocks provided by the MBA.com. Even Param sir also appeared for the GMAT focus mocks. After taking those mock exams and understanding the percentiles, if you make some 2 to 3 mistakes, still you can get a 99 percentile. Okay, so that's an advantage you have in the data insights. Generally, students, before they start the exam, they will be under certain pressure, right? So in order to deal with that, if you make several mistakes in the first few minutes, that would contribute to a very low score. Okay, so for that reason, I recommend you to go for data insights first. Okay, so you can understand more by taking the GMAT mock exams. I mean, the free exams available in the MBA.com. Okay, after that, you can select whichever that is comfortable for you. But I recommend you to go for data insights first. Okay, and this particular GMAT exam, students, you have a very nice advantages. You will get an improved score report. Okay, detailed performance insights are presented in the score report. You not only get simply the scores, but also get certain kind of performance insights. Okay, and now it is very easy to send you a scores. Okay, after completing the GMAT exam, you are given once you receive the official score, you are given 48 hours time to send your scores. Okay, you can send directly online, so that's another advantage you have. And coming to the challenges present in the GMAT exam, students, the first important challenge is it's a computer adaptive exam. So what is meant by this computer adaptivity? How this GMAT adaptive algorithm works? Let me briefly explain you. So once you start the exam, students, the computer, it will contain a data bank of questions, innumerable number of questions in that one. Okay. The first question will always be a medium level question. Okay. It will always be a medium level question. Now assume that you have answered that question correctly. Your score improves like this. Okay. And answered the second question too correctly. Again, it improves. If you make a mistake, the score will go down. So this is how the score will improve and then decline according to the responses you are giving to the questions. And finally, you will get a score here. Now see the opposite case. The first question you have encountered, which is a medium level question, you made it incorrect. Your score will decline. Again, you made it incorrect. It will decline. So this is how it will be declining. And then finally, you get a score here. Let it be some 400. So what are the important takeaways from this particular graph? Students, the first few questions are very important. If you make mistakes in the first few questions, your score will go down. Now tell me how much effort you have to put in order to regain that level. So I recommend you not to make many mistakes in the first few questions. Be careful with that. Okay, so this is a very important point you should remember. And another important challenge is time management, students. So here I have calculated how much time you have for each question. In data insights, you have roughly 2.25 minutes, whereas in quant, you have 2.14 minutes. In verbal, it is simply 1.95 minutes per question. Okay, so within that particular time, you have to solve a question. Remember, you cannot finish any section before the time allotted and then move to the other section. Okay, right. And there is a penalty for unanswered questions, students. Okay, so some students generally, they spend a lot of time in the first few questions and consequently unable to answer the later questions. So if you simply leave any question unanswered, the penalty is very high. So what is the best strategy you have to follow here? Simply have a educated guess, best guess, and then complete all the questions rather than, leaving them unanswered. Okay, so this is a very important point. And coming to the scores, how your scores are calculated and everything. Students, you can get a unofficial score report immediately after you complete the exam. Your official score report, it will be available in the mba.com within 3 to 5 business days of completing your exam. Okay, but it may take up to 20 days also. So you will receive an email notifying that you have got your official score. Okay, once you have notified by email, then you will have 48 hours of time to send score reports free of cost to 5 universities. Okay, so if you want to order an additional score report, then you have to pay $35. Okay, and the score is valid for 5 years. You all know that. And the score report will have detailed performance insights, students. Okay, unlike the previous GMAT score report, this particular GMAT focus edition score report is very, very valuable. You can understand your performance by section. You can understand the performance by the content domain. I mean, how well you have performed in verbal, quant, and data insights. You can also get that. And you can also see your time management and performance, summary of question review and changes. All these things you can get from the score report. You can understand that from the score report. Okay, so that's an advantage. And these are the GMAT focus percentile students. Okay, so a 735 to 805 score that can bring you 100 percentile. Okay, a 735 to 805. If you get a 735 score in the GMAT exam, it is equal to 100 percentile, remember. And 705 to 725 means 99 percentile. Okay, so in the data insights, it is 85 to 88. That will give you 99 percentile. So whereas in the quant, if you get 90 scale score, it means 100 percentile. Okay, so you can see these tables in the mba.com also. So just remember these things so that you can aim how much you want in the GMAT exam, what kind of flexibility you have, how many mistakes can I afford in the GMAT exam. You can understand that point. Okay, right. So hope everything is clear, students. Are you all finding interesting? Just to say yes or no. All right, cool. Okay, so after you complete your exam, students, this kind of tables you find in the GMAT score report. Okay, total score, how this kind of analysis you can see. Okay. So you get performance insights on independent subjects, verbal reasoning, data insights, quantitative reasoning. Okay, right. You can see that. You can take the GMAT exam, students, once every 16 days. Okay. And but there is a limit. You can't exceed 5 GMAT exams within a 12-month rolling period. Okay. And there is a limit on the lifetime GMAT exams too. Okay. Only 8. In the entire lifetime, you can appear for only 8 GMAT exams. That's it. Remember. Okay, so if you want to take the GMAT exam, students, this is some financial information I have given. It costs $275 if you want to go to the test center and then appear for the exam. If you want to take an online exam, $300. Okay, and rescheduling, canceling, this information I have given here. You can get it from mba.com too. Okay, right. So here in GMAT 30, students, this is how the program is structured.